to my channel, Frankly Speaking with Frankie. I'm Frankie. This is my dear friend Bree, and today we're going to be discussing the subject of love. So, Bree, hi.
Yes, hello. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So, the reason I wanted to bring up this subject is because when I would talk to friends and other people, and they talk about the relationships they were in, I rarely ever hear them bring up the word love, or I'm in love, or they love me, stuff like that. So I wanted to ask you, because you're in a relationship for how long now?
4 years.
4 years now.
Yes.
So the first question is, are you in love?
Yes, I'm in love. I'm in love with my partner. In the beginning, it's kind of hard to distinguish love and having love for someone and being in love, but I feel like I figured it out now. I feel like I'm in love.
Can you try to tell me a little bit why you feel that way compared to the relationships you had before? How do you know this is love compared to the ones you had before? What's different?
Well, there's a few things that's different. So when sometimes I just find myself like just looking at him like, wow, I really love you. Like, I'm really in love with you. Like, just some of the things that he does or doesn't have to do. And then I just feel more at peace with him. Like, when I'm with him, I can just be me. I'm me. I'm no one else. Not to say that I was anyone else before, but, sometimes you feel like you have to hold back from being truly you.
Right.
And I don't hold back from being me. Like, whether it's the goofy me, whether it's the silly, crazy, happy, sad, mad, you're going to get all of this, okay?
Right.
And he accepts that for me. Like, he accepts me for who I am. And I really love that. Just him as a person, he's just a sweet person. Like, people think that, like, people see people in a different light, but when you're actually dating someone, you're in a relationship with someone, you see a different side of him. I see a side of him that makes me happy, that makes me feel like you're a great person. Like, I know that when I look at him, he got me. I know that I got him. I know that, when I go to sleep at night, I can look at him and just think, wow, you're amazing. Like,
that's cool.
And I actually tell him, like, you're amazing. I love you. And he's just like, he's crazy. So it's a little different.
Are you guys able to have conversations about what you guys want to do in the future? Have you ever talked about stuff like that?
So in the beginning, it was a bit hard for him. So it was very hard for him because he's a guy, he's a male, a man. And that's not something that majority of men, especially in America,
men are not effusive. They don't talk. I know that.
So in the beginning, it was very hard for me to talk with him just about a lot of stuff. Now we talk a lot, and he talks a lot. Sometimes we talk about a lot of different things, about what we want for the future, about homes, about kids, about marriage, about everything, openly. And we discuss what we don't like, what we do like, how we want to raise our baby, everything. Because it's important to talk about these things because, when you're in the beginning of a relationship, everything is cute, everything is fun, everything is la-di-da-da. And then when shit hits the fan, it's kind of like, it's kind of like, I guess we never talked about this. No. Because of my past experiences, not to say they're all bad, but you learn from it. And I learned to be upfront and speak up on things that you want and things you don't like and things you want for yourself in the future and what you envision. Because how can that partner know what you want if you're not speaking up? No one can read your mind.
Of course not. Have you ever been in love before this or no?
I feel like I don't want to say that I haven't been. I don't want to say that I have been. Like, I feel like, of course, like, I think that I was in love with, like, potential in people or what I felt like we could have been or where I feel like we could have gone.
Right.
The idea, not the person at that moment, who that person was in front of me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if I was, then, certain things wouldn't have happened the way that it happened. So looking back on it, no, I don't feel like I was truly in love with that person. I was in love with the idea of what could be, but I did love that person. You know what I mean? But I don't think I was really in love with that person in that moment, if that makes sense.
Hmm. And what about your family?
Of course, I don't have a really big family. My mom is more to herself, and then my dad is Jamaican, so he's only one here of his siblings. Everyone else is kind of like spaced out. But like my mom and my dad, I love them. I have a few siblings, but the ones that's here, I know them the best. The ones in Jamaica, I don't know them as much, but I love my siblings,
Of course.
all of them. Um, so yeah, I love my family.
And what about your friends? You have friends?
Yes. I have a few friends. You know, as you get older, you go from having 10 friends to 5 friends
Right.
to, you know, maybe 3 or 4.
Mhm.
And I have a few friends, and because I don't have a big family, I treat my friends like family.
I do
So
as well.
those are like my sisters, my brothers. Like, you know, after I've been friends with you for so long, at this point, you're not my friend. You're not my best friend. You're like my sister. You know what I mean? So, of course, I have a few friends that I love. So, yeah.
Hmm. And what about at your workplace?
I have a few people that I love at work. Like, those, that's my dogs. Like, I have a few people that I love there. Not everybody, because it's work. You don't gotta love everybody. You don't gotta like
Of course
everybody.
not.
But of course, there's a few people there that I love down. Okay, I'm gonna go hard for them against the managers. I'm gonna stick up for them, and I'm gonna speak my piece for them. So yes.
And what about your friends when you guys talk?
Mm-hmm.
You know, your girlfriends when you
Mm-hmm.
talk about what you're looking for in a partner.
Mm-hmm.
Do they ever talk about I want to be in love, or are they just talking about oh the guy gotta have money, or he has to have this, he has to have that before I can commit myself? What are you hearing?
Well, it's a mixture of both, because as a kid, I would think like being a gold digger is bad. Not to say I'm a gold digger and I want my friends to be a gold digger, but you would think like, oh, if a girl wants a guy with money, she's a gold digger. But that's not true, because at the end of the day, of course, you want to be with someone who can fend for themselves and potentially fend for you if you know need be.
Right.
You don't want to be with somebody that's a bum. You know what I mean? Because then if you're with someone who has bum behavior, you're gonna eventually be right next to him. So of course you want to be with someone that has money. So of course my friends, they do want to be with someone who has money, but they want to be with someone that's committed, that's honest. Right now in these times, it's so hard to be with someone that's fully committed, that's loyal, and that's just honest because of social media.
Mhm.
And because the type of people we have today. Everyone just wants something quick, something fast. Nobody wants to work for anything. No one wants to put the time in. So yes, there's talk about money, of course, but not in the sense of if he ain't got $1 million, I don't want him. In the sense of, oh, I want someone who can take care of themselves first,
Mhm.
and then if need be, also be able to take care of me when that time comes. But most of the girls that I know, most of my friends, they just want somebody that's honest, loyal, understanding, and emotionally intelligent. Someone who can hold a conversation with you, someone who can talk with you, and talk about something other than what's going on in the shade room.
Have you heard of this new concept of men that they call incels, involuntary celibate men, who can't socialize and they can't date women? I think there was something 2 months ago in New Zealand or Australia, and this guy went to a mall, and a very good looking man, and he went and he stabbed like 8 or 9 women only, and was blaming them for his inability to make a connection with the woman because of and his mother was saying, I believe she said about that, he's always on social media, he's never interacting. So I mean, then he blamed the women for his inability to make a connection. So that's a phenomenon now, incels. Have you ever heard that term?
I have not heard of it, but I think
And these are men.
Yes,
keep them in?
I think that it's a lot of different reasons. Again, social media, video games, a lot of these different things that takes up a lot of time. When I was a kid, I always felt like because I'm 30, I felt like my generation and a few kids after me were the last kids to play outside. My little brother, he didn't play outside. He rather played on the video game. And right now, he's still very much so into video games. As sweet as can be, but he's a video game guy. And a lot of kids under him are very much so into video games and social media. And so they can play on the game and curse you out on the game and talk on social media, but they lack those social skills. Because when you're outside, especially when you just moved into the neighborhood, you got to talk to those kids outside if you want to play and you tired of being in the house, tired of getting yelled at about opening and slamming the door and eating and all the stuff like that. So you have to go outside. And so you have to learn, hi, whatever. My mom was one of those moms where she was like, well, we go into Target. Oh, I like this. Well, go ask them how much it is or go ask them what's the size. If you don't ask, you can't get it.
Right.
So I had to learn at a young age to even speak up for myself.
Interact and talk.
Exactly. A lot of these kids don't do that. So I can believe it. But basically, to go back to that, I can believe you saying that. They're blaming women for that. But it's really just, I don't know who to blame for it, because it's a lot of factors when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the parents could have pushed them a little bit more. Maybe, the kids could have got off the game a little bit. It's a lot of different things. And then COVID happened too.
Right.
And those little kids didn't really get to go to school, that first time. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of different things. I think it's sick that he's blaming these women, though.
Right. And then also, this is something, it's a worldwide thing. It's not just here.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're having a hard time in China with men who are, unable to make the kind of money they get a wife. Mm-hmm. So they're going back home and just giving up on trying to go. Everything's so expensive and they just can't make it. Mm-hmm. So the other day I was watching on CNN and there was some psychologist on a guy saying that a lot of young men in America in crisis because they are not realizing their dreams. And he blamed a lot of it on inability to talk to women. They're not able to talk to women. They can't socialize and they're angry and acting out. Have you heard that?
I haven't heard it, but I believe it. Again, I believe it. We see it every day. People don't know how to approach you. Now, back in the day, people used to ask for your number.
Right.
Now people are like, oh, what's your Instagram? And then they'll follow you and maybe they may comment under your picture or they may like your picture or whatever the case may be, but they will not, DM you unless you like one of their things, unless you like one of their pictures or, whatever the case may be.
It's still that disconnect.
Yes, they're like, I think it's also the fear of being rejected. So
which is part of growing up.
Everybody gets rejected.
Everybody does. All your life.
In love, in careers,
Absolutely.
In everything. But a lot of people don't like to get rejected also because people make it a thing of blasting you on social media. Yeah, can you believe this dude was in my DMs? Like, look at this. You don't have to do all of that. You can just say no, thank you, and that's it.
Right.
But now every time something is wrong or somebody doesn't agree with somebody, they post it on social media. So I can also understand why they are a little nervous to even DM or take that extra step to message because I will admit, some girls do the most. And same for men.
Exactly.
Some men do the most as well. So
I think with the advent of social media, it's been a wonderful tool. Mm-hmm. But it's done a lot of damage as well because people don't know how to talk to each other. They don't know how to interact. You're hiding behind your phone. There's keyboard covers, and once you're in front of a person, you don't know how to speak to them.
Or they're not saying what they're saying on social media.
Right.
So it's just, I think social media has, like you said, has been a blessing and a curse at the same time. MySpace was easy. You know what I mean? You just had your top friends and stuff. Once it started getting into Instagram, it's like a popularity thing, and guys be intimidated to talk to girls that have all these followers or have all these guys under their DMs, and girls be ready to again put them on blast. Like, look at him, he don't got no money, he trying to talk to me. I think it's a lot. It's a lot now. A lot of women only want men with money, and I think that again, every woman wants someone who can provide for them. Because let's be real,
because that's the thing when I wanted to bring up the subject of love, because I hear that a lot when people talk. They always want the money, but no one is ever mentioning love part.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you can have a relationship without it. How can you have a relationship without it?
I think I talk about this with my friend all the time. You have to feel some type of love, and you have to have some type of attraction to that person. Because when you get mad, first thing you're gonna say is, "I don't know why I'm with your ugly ass." You know what I mean?
And not only that, but when you were just there for the money, I mean, they don't have to give you their money.
No, they don't have to give you the money, but I just think that if you don't have love and you don't find that person attractive, you don't have some type of friendship or emotional connection to that person, it's gonna quickly end when things don't go wrong. And that's why there's so much more divorces now, because people are getting with people for the wrong reasons. Like, you think you want somebody for the money, or like how a lot of people want to be with like 1% type of men, like, and those are supposed to be like your rappers and your NFL, NBA, but they're never home. So you're always home.
But when we look at them, look how many other girls they date. You're sharing that guy with so many other people.
So it's just like, you think you want it until you're there. And
they want the lifestyle.
But at the end of the day, everybody wants to be loved.
Of course.
So you can only have your heart broken so many times before you don't want to deal with it. So I think that, people do want money, but, also I think for women, because I think a lot of women are tired of taking care of men. From experiences that I know from my friends, and sometimes you are caught like raising some men, like, especially when you're young, like you're trying to help build them up, and I mean, that's what you do in your partnership. But a lot of times women are caught building up men more than sometimes these men are, especially in their younger years,
right?
And then you get to a point where it's like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to be with someone where I gotta build them up, and then it don't work out, and now they're built up for the next person. I want to be with somebody who already got it together. You know what I mean? Like, I've been there where I've had to help financially, and I did it because I wanted to. This was my partner. But it was a lot on me, where I was helping him more financially than I was helping myself, and I had to take a step back and be like, okay, well, I need to do some stuff for me, and then it's like, I don't want to go through that again, so when you're dealing with that, where you're always dealing with constantly having to pay for everything, constantly having to do this, constantly having to do that, of course, the next thing you're going to say is, I don't want to be with somebody who ain't got no money. I want to be with someone who is financially stable, who has their own place, who has their own car, who has all this, because you just was with someone who didn't have all of that.
Right.
And it was very stressful, and it took a toll on you, So of course, a lot more women are saying that, because a lot more women are experiencing that. Because if you look at the studies, a lot of women are going to college.
Yes.
Especially a lot of Black women.
More than men.
And college is not everything.
Right.
But some of them are getting the jobs that the men can no longer get.
Right.
So they have more money than men. Even with YouTube. Back then, some of the YouTube girls that I follow, they were talking about how some of the men are intimidated because they make so much money. And it's hard for them. But I think that's a big reason why that a lot of women are saying they want to be with someone for money, not because they just want to get Chanel and these Coach and what's the Bottega and all of that stuff. It's not just that. It's just they're tired of taking care of people. They want to be taken care of.
I understand. But when we look out, at the world today, a lot of people are not doing well. You and I both know a lot of guys who still live at home. They're not able to make that next step because financially it's just very hard.
And I think
people stay home a lot longer now than they did when I was a child. At 18, I was gone. 17 and a half, I was gone, rather. Gone.
I think that that's when you have to find someone who has some understanding. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if you're at home, are you saving? Once you get to know a person, you talk to someone, you can't just be like, okay, you live at home with your mom, I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
That I just think that's dumb. I think you need to talk with someone. And listen, if I could stay home with my mom longer and not bumped heads with her, I would have stayed home with my mom. Okay, it's expensive out here. I think that it's nothing wrong with staying home with your parents as long as you have a plan, as long as you're not just sitting there spending your money and just because you don't have to pay rent.
Right.
As long as you're being financially responsible. I think that's okay, if that makes sense.
But I just know a lot of the guys that I talk to, they find it so hard because a lot of them still live at home. They're unable financially to make the break to get there. They're saving, of course. But like
it's
everything,
hard.
it just takes a lot of time. It just takes a lot of time. And then, of course, when you tell someone you live at home or you live, they're like, But, we got to have a little grace. Because so many people, all over the country can, kids, they cannot, college kids graduate and still can't make the money to move out.
I'm a college kid that graduated and tried to get a job in my field, and they were trying to pay me less than what I was paying at, our current job. And I couldn't take the job because if I would have took the job, they were paying me less than what I was paying when I moved into my apartment. And so I couldn't take it. And I went to school. It took me longer than 4 years to graduate because I took leaves and whatever. But so I get it. I just think that as long as you're talking or dating someone who's understanding, I think a lot of people don't have grace anymore. They just want it fast. I want somebody to have grace and understanding with me, so I'm gonna have that same type of understanding with the other person. But it also comes with growth. In my last relationship, I didn't have grace or understanding with for what that person had going on at all. Because I was young, and I was just young, and I just didn't have any patience. It's just like, you just want stuff to go, and you're young. As you grow older, you learn, and you learn patience. You learn the way of the world. You learn a lot of stuff, So, I just think that with experience comes more grace and understanding.
That's wonderful. I'm happy to hear that you're in love. I love when you say that.
Yes.
Yeah, and having love in your life.
Yes.
So I want to thank all of you for this episode and watch us. We're going to be coming out with a video like twice a month. So Frankly Speaking with Frankie, Bree was my guest, and we thank her and we thank you. Peace, guys.